often have people that want to come over and learn how to pressure can or water bath can or dehydrate or use the freeze dryer. And I opened my kitchen up to one-on-one teaching lessons. And I had a girlfriend come over and she literally wanted to learn how to can. And I was in the process of doing several canning. So I sent her the list of the things that I was going to be canning shortly. And she picked the meat and bean chili. Now, the meat and bean chili that I was trying this time came out of this book, The Canning Diane Devereaux. I've never made a recipe that I did not like out of this book, but wouldn't you know it, it's when I'm teaching somebody how to can, how to use a pressure canner, this is when I find a recipe that I do not like. The whole entire time we're saying, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. I do not like this recipe. Not only was this recipe extremely expensive, it calls for quite a bit of Roma tomatoes, which I had no problem using. It also called for several pounds of Italian sausage, which I substituted for the ground beef. So I did all ground beef. It called for 2 different kinds of meats. But, and I was cleaning out my freezer, so I'm perfectly okay with it. But this was like a $15 canning. And for $15, I got 7 jars of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, one of them's in the refrigerator because it did not seal. I got 7 quarts of meat and bean chili. And I'm just going to tell you, it's very hearty with meat. And it has a really good flavor. But it's not it doesn't have a lot of liquid other than the meat and the beans. So, I mean, if you had somebody that didn't like the liquid, but I kind of like the gravy-ish liquid in it. So I'm going to wash these up because the jars are very dirty. Very dirty. This is why I wash all my jars. And then I'm going to label them, put them on the shelf, but I'm still in the search for the perfect meat and bean chili. And there's not very many beans in here. I like beans, equal amount of beans and meat. So there you go. And that's the first time I didn't like the recipes that you've made. Now, I have been canning out of all 3 of her books, so she has a new one that I'm really excited about that's coming out next month. So one recipe out of all of these recipes that I have used, I can't say anything negative about the books because the books are good. I'm just going to put in there that it's not my favorite recipe. And that's okay. It's okay for us not to like every single recipe out of a book. So, but I am washing and it's just soap. It's just soap and water. I use Dawn dish soap because it cuts the grease on the jars because it does have a lot of grease on the sides. And you know what? We were really sad when all of the jars sealed. I was like really sad. But then when I came in and you check them 24 hours after and I saw one hadn't sealed, I was like, yes! Stuck it in the fridge and my husband had this big smile on his face and he said, is that what we're going to be having for dinner? And I'm like, why, yes it is. So there you go. Now you know what I know. I'm still working through my case of tomatoes. I will not be making this recipe again. I'm still going to be on the hunt for the perfect chili recipe for my family. And that is what is so fascinating about canning, is because while somebody might think they have the best recipe, you still can find the best recipe for your family by trying over and over again. It's the hunt. It's the hunt. You guys have a great day out there. I got one more jar. Don't forget to label, right? Now you know what I know.